Hello, this is Brainy Fox, and you're listening to the Brainy Fox podcast, where you can hear all about my swinging adventures, my scandalous lifestyle, and hear all the other fun stories that I have to tell. Enjoy! Please note that the adult nature of this podcast makes it inappropriate for people who are under 18. Sorry, kids. Hello, this is Brainy Fox. So it's Saturday night and I have decided to go out and have some fun. And I'm actually out with my friend, Mr. Saturday. And I guess we're going to start with the format that Mr. Cadillac suggested. So we're going to talk about what we've been up to, how we met. And well, first of all, say hi to Mr. Saturday.
Hi, Miss Brainy Fox. Pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you on my show. So we're going to talk about how we met. And I guess I like to get people's opinions about the lifestyle. And then we're going to say, a few things about what we did tonight. And then I think we're going to play after this. So this might be brief. And then...
two-parted.
Oh, I like that.
Before and after?
No, definitely before and after. But so I'm just thinking like if we get to it and we get distracted on the way there, then we'll just maybe talk a little longer after.
Right.
Okay. So Saturday and I met on my favorite swinger lifestyle website. And he was one of those charming people that actually read my profile, had pictures, and acknowledged what he read in my profile when he contacted me at first.
As an advice to any couples or even single guys especially, grammar and complete sentences will go farther in this lifestyle than you would ever expect.
So that's absolutely true in my case. I think that I'm sure there are unicorns out there who also don't have terrific grammar, and that's fine. But it's never going to hurt you to have good grammar and use complete sentences and use all your words appropriately, spell things appropriately. But really importantly, read profiles, acknowledge limitations, maybe notice that you've read things in the profiles, and then don't disregard things that were clearly stated in profiles.
I always say there's always a right way and a wrong way to go about things in this lifestyle. You don't have to lead with sex. Yes, you want to get there, but just talk to the person, get to know them a little bit. Like Miss Fox says, bring up points in her profile, especially if she's emphasizing things, and go from there. You will get there eventually. Don't rush into it with an opening line like, hey, I want to fuck your brains out. You're probably not going to get anywhere doing that.
So that's absolutely true. And I feel like, yes, when you meet someone on a swinger website, it's sort of implied that that's everyone's ultimate strategy, but you should never assume that that's what's going to happen. Just like on a vanilla dating website, you never assume that you're going to go on a date with everyone that you approach. So the end game here is a little more obvious. It's transparent in a way that it's not on vanilla dating websites. But that doesn't mean there shouldn't be some sort of not like...
There's etiquette. There's etiquette about this. And even if I meet somebody outside of an event just to get a drink, it's pretty much, I hardly even ever play on the first date. Because you don't have those expectations, and it takes kind of the pressure off getting to know somebody, see what kind of connection you have, whether or not you should pursue things farther, or you're just not a good fit. I've got friends that love hanging out, love talking about the lifestyle and doing all that stuff, but there's just not that connection there. So it's figuring that out will help in the long run.
No, that's absolutely legit. And I think that just some sort of courtship and sorting things out. And, you can even have a physical connection with someone that you ultimately don't have that much emotional connection with. And that's also okay. But I think for me, and I can really only speak for myself, I tend to be most attracted to people who acknowledge me as a human being and not just some available vagina that they found on the vagina marketplace, which is not really what it's about.
I don't know. I'm laughing. I'm thinking about a Meyer coupon for that.
Oh, God. So we met on the swinger website, and he had written to me, and I think I mentioned this before. It's a huge deal for me to actually talk to someone on the phone. That's kind of a big deal. And we talked on the phone several times. And I think you said you didn't know that at dinner tonight.
No, I didn't. I was listening to the podcast earlier today. I finally, asked her, what's the site? And of course she told me, and I, did the old face palm reply emoji. And we had kind of an interesting way of how we eventually got together just based on timing and circumstances. We were supposed to get together and go to a party, and it didn't work out on my part. And then I was dating somebody, she's dating somebody. It's just out of sync. And then finally, we ended up, after about a year,
Oh my God, it was a year, wasn't it?
finally getting together. It's one of those things that, sometimes you just have enough of a connection that doesn't matter how long it took, it's still there. And you come back and it's there.
No, definitely. And we have like a legitimate friendship. So like, even when we're not having the opportunity to be together physically, like we stay in touch, and it's been really nice. And so like it's great when we're both kind of not obligated to other people, or we don't have any reasons not to be physically together, and then we get to. So,
and it's like two old friends that can like pick up where they left off, even though they haven't seen each other in a while. That's kind of what we had from the beginning. And the whole phone number thing, I had no idea. I was told she just didn't really like using a messaging app that a lot of people in the lifestyle use, and it went from SLS to this other app to phone number. I thought was this what she preferred. I didn't realize that it was a special privilege.
That I liked you.
Yeah.
But I did.
So I found that out today. So that was a nice little surprise.
That's funny. Yeah. So we had lots and lots of things in common, I think. Like, so we both have kind of similar educational backgrounds, and we have like lifestyle things to talk about, because we actually have very similar views about how to pursue the lifestyle. And then we also have like other non-lifestyle things in common, which means it's a big deal.
And with the education professionally, what we both do, there's overlaps between our two fields. So we can actually talk shop. That's what's fun. We can talk shop between what we're doing and then go into the most amazing, mind-blowing sexual adventures in the same conversation and back and forth. So it makes it really fun to have that dynamic.
Yeah, it's nice to find it's nice to find somebody that you have all kinds of things in common with on different levels, because it's like, we have fun things to talk about after the sex and over dinner, even though we do spend a lot of time talking about sex.
Well, we're both sexual. Obviously, we're here, but it's one of those things. I think it actually, you hear people use the term mental foreplay, and talking about the non-sex stuff and it's allowing more of a connection, which is going to make the sex better. Obviously, vanilla people know that, non-vanilla people know that.
So I agree. So I've always considered myself very sapiosexual. I think that like having some kind of mental connection or like brain stimulation is like really erotic for me. I find that it makes the sex more interesting. And as dismissive as it sounds, I found that for me, people I don't connect with at all mentally are people who are like really not super bright to me. Stupid people fuck stupid.
Exactly. And it's even getting into like people that are in a lifestyle will know this, and people who are curious, it's good to know. Everybody's like, what's your type, or what do you go after? And it's almost like you almost have to like specify what's the circumstances. There's people that you'll date that are different than people that you'll have ongoing relationships with, who are different than people you'll be at events. So there's maybe somebody who is a little bit towards, as you said, the stupid people that you're like, all right, they're hot, they're attractive, whatever. I could do it in an event, but you're not going to do repeat performances with these people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting to know yourself and identifying what you want.
Which is, honestly, like an excellent life skill. And so like I feel like have to do it on a broader level than other people do. I don't know.
Quicker. It's like you don't want to rush ever, take your time, but it's also, you don't want to waste anybody's time in this lifestyle either. So it's like, kind of figuring out, it's like, all right, first level. Okay. You pass that and start figuring out, all right, next level. Okay. You're still good. And then go from there. It's like figuring out, what's this person presenting themselves? Is this what I'm, into? And I also like getting to know people. You want to be responsible in this lifestyle. And it's also identifying, you start picking up on this person takes risks or has a little bit risky behavior, then you probably may not want to, you're wondering, what else are you risky about? And that gets into safety and lifestyle.
No, that's totally true.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you do? And that's one thing I always tell people that are not into this. And they always have, some people go with the assumption, well, my gosh, you're all just spreading disease. And it's like, no, actually people in lifestyle are probably more responsible than people aren't.
Well, because you have to be aware of your status, right?
And that's what, and or like people are like, well, I don't see myself, I don't need to get tested. I'm not doing that stuff. I'm just meeting people off whatever normal dating site, all the time and having sex. And it's like, no, that's more risky than what we're doing. We actually take care of ourselves and we know our status and we're regular and we get checked up.
But more importantly, we discuss it, right?
Yes.
And which means that like, we're aware that there's risk inherent in what we do, and therefore we need to go and be like able to discuss it candidly and go get tested and then discuss our status with people.
Or even the just openness, because as you might heard about when Miss Brainy Fox introduced me as Mr. Saturday Night, we had the adventure where we met a couple, and I've still been in contact with them. And one of our conversations was the gentleman of the couple his question was like, where did you find the condoms that you let me use? Because that's something that we are open to have those conversations. He's like, I really like those. And if you really like using a condom or it really actually feels good, you're more likely to use it rather than something that's not. So it's conversations like that are just so open and so just normal that maybe normal people don't have those conversations. So that's the one thing I really like about the lifestyle is the openness, the awareness, and the responsibility that people have.
Yeah, we sort of disregard any taboos, which means that we can talk about the things that people think are icky, but we can also talk details about the things that are super exciting. And so that's really nice. I like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, big serious tangent there in our conversation about being responsible and that stuff. But that's especially for people that are new or thinking about this. This is definitely, if you're not in that mindset, then you're not ready for this.
That's valid. That's absolutely true. And it's a little scary at first for people. But the thing is, first of all, you have better sex if you can talk about it with people. If you tell them exactly what your needs are, and then you can talk about the things that might make you worried, and you get those out of the way so you don't have to have that on your mind during the sex.
It's getting comfortable.
Yes, absolutely. And so, yeah, it's good. And Saturday and I were both really good at that. So we got all that out of the way. We got to find out more about each other right away. It was very efficient.
Exactly. And like you heard last time is like, when we finally did get together, is like, this is what I'd prefer. And she's just like, yeah, sure. I mean, at one point, I think we had discussed meeting an event and I was like, well, I want some time between us before we go mingle. And that's eventually what happened a year later.
It's true.
So it's just one of those things that sometimes these things work out.
Yeah, I know. I'm just fashionably late. I'm very fashionable. So
what's a year, right?
Sorry about
But
that.
it's like in any relationship, sometimes it takes a while for both people to be in the right time in the right place.
No, that's true. And I feel like, whatever's happened, it's good. And now we've got this really valid feeling connection. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we went out tonight and we had dinner at this really cool little restaurant that was sort of like rustic, and there were saddles on the wall that was really cool. And then afterwards we went to an Irish pub and had Guinness.
Yes.
And so we had the opportunity to go to a couple of lifestyle parties, and we just decided that we actually hadn't spent much time with each other, and so we're actually going to stay in.
Yeah, and then she proposed an interesting idea about staying in.
I did. I thought, I have this podcast and I like to just be candid and share all of my stuff. So I think maybe you should talk to me on my podcast, and then we can play, which means have sex. And then maybe we can talk about our reactions after.
Yeah, and that seemed like a really good idea. And for me, it's having that connection, but also, as been alluded on previous podcasts, this certain young lady is quite the looker. And a funny story, if you listen to previous podcasts that we had, where we went to the pool party, there was a point where, her and Lucky were, going to the bathroom, and I'm waiting. And a gentleman out in the living room asked me who that was with. Who are you with? And I told him her SLS name, and he's like, that's her? She's here? So it's like I'm with a swinging celebrity. And I mean, this guy, he's, has his own group. He's pretty visible on the site. So I knew who he was.
Yeah, he's kind of a local name in the scene, right?
Yeah. So he's a personality. And it's like, but he was just like almost like starstruck that he's at an event she was at.
That's so weird to me.
So when you listen to these podcasts, realize this is not just any old person in the southeastern Michigan swinging scene. This is somebody that if you're on our site, you're probably going to know exactly who we're talking about.
That's super funny. I love it. So I think I actually have links to my 3 favorite swinger websites on my website, but I'm not going to do that plug right now. But anyway, so we've talked. We talked about what we did this evening. And so then I think we're going to have a toast, and I think we should play. What do you think?
That's always a good idea. We do. I mean, even the first time we got together, it was like, all right, we've got an agenda. Let's get to it. And even though we were a little bit pressed for time, it's pretty damn good.
It was. Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, it was easy and good. So this is what we do.
We just clicked on a number of levels, and so it was great. And we didn't take forever doing it, but we both really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was like, and then, we played with other people, and it's like, it just keeps getting better every time we do this.
Yeah, it's great. So, I mean, I hope I don't disappoint this evening, but.
Oh, no pressure on me.
But as promised, I will talk after. So,
and hopefully we've got some positive reviews, right? Because that's where the idea spurred from. I think it was somebody suggested on another podcast about an actual rating system, 0 to 10.
Yeah, it was Mr. Cadillac, and I don't know about that. And I have to say that at least the last few times we've played, my post-sex brain has been very euphoric and giddy. So I can't imagine myself being critical at all, especially not of you.
No, this is more of just playing with the situation and just hearing that and going, you actually proposed that.
That seems awfully potentially harsh. So, but you guys have never heard me right after I got fucked. And so, so actually, I don't know that I've ever heard myself right after I've gotten fucked. So I'll do the recording and I'll listen afterwards. And that's going to be really interesting when I'm editing. Oh, he's taking his pants off now. Okay. Mwah. Oh, there it is. Okay, so
we're back.
We're back. That was awesome, by the way.
It was a good time. And there's people that it just comes naturally, so to speak.
Well, I had fun. I think I lost track of my orgasms, so thank you for that.
It's one of those things where you're with a partner who is comfortable with themselves, and they allow you to see a little bit more of them, a little bit more vulnerable, and it allows you to get that deeper connection and responsive. So it's pretty obvious what's working, what's going well, what you should do more of, and go from there. It's really a really good partner.
Yeah, it was really good. So I had fun. So let's see. Well, I don't know. Do we do a play-by-play?
We can. That'd be maybe interesting to the listeners.
Okay.
Since the previous podcasts have kind of been a little bit
less graphic.
Exactly.
I was trying to be a little cagey.
And this is a naked podcast. We should add.
We are totally naked.
Yes, on my so got a new bed and
so fancy.
Well, you're in the store and the salesman's making stuff sound good. And so you don't realize that if you buy a platform bed with an adjustable base and a tall mattress, how fucking tall this damn thing is until they assemble it in your house. And you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this bed that's now 4 feet off the ground?
So it's you have this vantage point you're on stage, though. It's kind of awesome. But I will say that I have to step on the frame to get up. I can't just get on the bed.
I'm fairly tall and I've got to throw a leg up on it to get up on the bed.
Yeah, and there's none of that for me. I literally have to stand on something to get up. So there's a step and then the bed. But it's really, really comfortable.
Right. And because we're fancy, we've got the adjustable base up. So if you ever grew up with the Craftmatic commercials, we're basically doing the podcast like that.
Yes, the head part of the bed is elevated. So it's Yeah, like a lounge. This is great.
Yeah. Anything for the podcast.
Yes. Well, yes. So, so we kissed. You're a great kisser, by the way.
Thank you.
I like kissing you a lot.
I do too. I like kissing you as well. It's that taking your time and not rushing. And yeah, there's, like I said earlier, there's a way about doing things. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it just seems sort of like at ease with each other, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And so, but yet I don't doubt that you did not fail to impress me, I guess. So I feel like, I don't know if like.
Well, and as we've said before and others have said, this lady is very, very attractive and very nicely built. And it's one of those things you're like, all right, I have to bring it.
No, there's not like
no,
pressure.
but you're just like, yeah, I really want this to go well, because if things are going well, this is won't happen more than one time, and I'd like this to happen, semi-regularly, right?
No. We should definitely do this again, soon. Maybe next weekend.
Maybe next weekend. We'll have to look at a calendar, see if anybody's got anything on their calendar.
Yeah, we'll pencil it in.
Yeah.
Have your people call my people.
Exactly.
No, I think, there's an event next weekend that I would like you to accompany to me to.
Well, and that's one of those things. It's like, I went to her website today and was looking around, and she's got like an event calendar where she's showing her podcast. And I noticed something was already there on next Saturday. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking about, because we mentioned we were thinking about going out tonight, but we decided to stay in. And I've been joking. I was like, well, I was feeling greedy. I didn't want to share. I'd wanted her to all of myself. And so I was like kind of, playing it. And, we're both sort of analytical about things. And I was like, well,
we are.
If we do us this weekend, then a group activity or a hotel party next weekend makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Nice and balanced.
Yeah. So we're like, yeah, it worked out well that way.
And we've even discussed the theme, so themes are like a thing in the swinger lifestyle. Like, I don't know if do they have themes for like vanilla parties?
Well, like, I think if you go to like on a cruise ship or like different resorts in the Caribbean.
But I thought that was only at lifestyle resorts.
No, I've seen some other, well, yeah.
Because I know they do that at lifestyle resorts.
Oh, they definitely do. Or lifestyle-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, some places will have different costume nights or stuff like that. And that's the way a bunch of lifestyle parties are. And even like the events we're going on tonight, 2 different locations, it was a schoolgirl theme on both. One was back to school, and I think the other one was school's back in session.
Well, it's September. I feel like all of September is.
Exactly. Because there are a lot of there's all kinds of different people in the lifestyle, but there are a lot of people who they've been married forever. Mm-hmm. And if you've been married forever, more than likely you've got kids. And so this is a nice little, they've gone through the stress of getting the kids back to school. And so actually kind of like, the school year started, kind of a nice way of spending that is letting the women dress up as naughty schoolgirls. And
That's funny.
And the men usually definitely do not mind the outfits.
I don't know. There's something really slutty about like people in their 30s and 40s and 50s in schoolgirl outfits.
And that's what makes it work. There's a friend of mine was going to a party tonight, and she sent me a picture of her outfit. And I was like, yep, that'll work tonight.
I want to see this picture.
Okay.
Yeah. Do I get to see this picture? So I love it. So I love it when.
Run downstairs.
Yes, you go get the picture. So I really love it when people. I love it when people get dressed up and you can see that people feel really sexy, like they've made an effort, and it's nice, like when you have something to sort of plan for all week or even longer, and then you like get to think about it. So every time you go to the store and like buy just the right stockings, or you like find a schoolgirl skirt that you order online, and then you have all week to sort of plan for it, and then like the anticipation of the event is just as delicious as being there. And then when you get there, you get to like, everyone's dressed up and everyone gets to comment on your appearance, and you feel like sort of on display in like a sexy way, and all your efforts have come to fruition. And
there's a definite sexual energy about it that's almost like a rush, that it's almost like going to a bar and saying, I'll take a shot of adrenaline. That's kind of what these events are. And you kind of get to where you like that feel. And I
do.
Yeah, these events have got that energy, whether they're on site or not.
Yeah.
And that's the fun, because it's just, you're just ramped up.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, that's hot. Dude, okay, so I'm going to describe this. So it's like a little halter top that looks kind of sheer.
It's sheer. You can see her nipples.
Yeah, you can definitely see some nipples, but it has a collar on it. And like there's a keyhole in the front of the boobs, but there's this like short plaid tie that hangs down between the boobs. But you can see the boobs through the like this sheer white thing.
And there's a nice contrast with it's got a pretty big collar on it. And the collar is where you've got the contrast between being sheer and white. So the collar is really popping out.
Yeah, the collar's not sheer. So then this is a crop top. It ends just under the boobs. And then I can see her navel and she has a very nice body. Like she's super tan too, which really is hot next to the white. And then there's a little red plaid skirt that I think if she turned around, I probably could see the bottom of her butt cheeks, which is kind of amazing.
And then this also gives you the option of like, well, or like a previous podcast, is she team no underwear?
Oh, yeah. Team no underwear.
Yeah.
So, and then there are white knee socks, but the best part is there's these little red plaid bows at the tops of the knee socks that match the skirt with like slutty little black sandals. I love everything about this outfit. And it looks like she's even rocking a braid in her hair.
Well, that's funny that you should mention that because looking back on the conversation real quick.
Okay. So can I just say that I love that women are planning their outfits with you? Hey, a guy's opinion, please. A side braid to kind of go with the theme for my long flowing hair. And he said, side braid would imply a schoolgirl to me if you're going with that theme. And she said, yes, thanks.
Yeah, so
That's perfect.
So yeah, the definite braid was like, yeah, either this is one where you do a braid or pigtails or something.
Totally.
It's the Britney Spears video that
Oops, I did it again.
Exactly. Yes.
I love it. That's hot. Yeah, so I'm a little sad we didn't get to see that outfit, but I did get to see the picture, which is good.
Right. Yeah, and this is a friend of mine that hopefully we'll have our meet next week that she likes going to a lot of events. So yeah, she'll be around.
Cool. Is she single female or
single female? She was with whatever her partner was for a while, but she's back as a single.
Okay. Well, it's good that I like it when people don't lose faith in the lifestyle, like when, the relationship doesn't work out, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, that whole confidence of getting out there on your own, regardless of what the environment is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really accepting bunch of people too. I mean, we're sort of crazy open. So we kind of, it's nice.
It's like you, even in your normal life, you have people that all different personalities, and there's always those people who will share anything with you.
Yeah.
But it's one of the situations where you're not getting inappropriate sharing. So it's a good sharing. So it's kind of like it's what makes this really fun and exciting is just the openness and it's kind of like a laid back, chill vibe that everybody kind of feels each other out. But then once everybody's comfortable and ready to go, it's like everybody can just flip a switch.
That's true.
And then you get into some of the stuff. I've been in situations where as a theme at a party, they've had some porn on the TV and we've actually commented about, well, that is not as good as what's going on in this room. So
that's beautiful. Like how often can you say that, right?
It's like,
so good.
You're like, this is real life. And it's like, hey, it's almost like I am starring in my own little thing right now.
Better than porn, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
So good. Yeah. So I think it was so nice to like just relax tonight. Plus this was good just to hang out.
And yeah, like we said earlier, it was almost like we just had a vanilla date night.
I know, but I haven't been on like an actual just date with someone in a long time. This was really nice. Thank you.
No, that's kind of where I was at, with this. And we were joking earlier before we came back on air about, the event night that we were, double booked and then
so much.
Then 5 people involved. She talked about my preference about having some time before we went out.
Yeah.
So we're trying to decide. It's like, this is our either 5th or 6th time we've been in a situation where, we're having sex, but this is only the second time it's been one-on-one.
That's true.
So it's kind of a dynamic that you get, kind of things happen this way. So we're like, let's, some people might, they've been with each other for a while, then they branch out. We've kind of done it in a little bit different way.
Oh, we dove right in.
Yeah, I mean, it's one-on-one, threesome, fivesome, threesome, back to one-on-one.
It's nicely symmetrical, though. I like it.
Yeah.
So, no, but dinner was lovely, and it was nice to go on an actual date. It was good.
And we got like some good, like home-cooked comfort food too.
The food was really good. I did. I liked the pot roast. It was delicious.
I got a buffalo loaf or buffalo, however you want to say.
Well, was it like meatloaf with buffalo?
Yeah. And we were even, it's like talking about just the conversations you can have. So you've got your brown gravy, and her brown gravy is totally different than my brown gravy. And you're like, all right, a restaurant actually went through that much trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it was really nice. I felt like the waiter was looking down my dress, though.
Yeah. The waiter, it was very, typical, small town place, and a lot of just people out for their Saturday night, excited to get out of the house. And then we walk in, and the waiter, if he was having a slow night, his night definitely got better.
So just keep in mind that I dressed because I thought we were probably going to go to a style party.
Yeah.
So I was wearing like a rather low cut dress with pictures of unicorns on it.
With your pineapple necklace and earrings.
Yes, I have a handbag that's shaped like a giant pineapple.
And I was a little bit more demure. I've got a couple different shirts, and what's funny right now is pineapples are popular across everything right now.
Pineapple means swinger.
Yeah, and people do not realize that.
I know.
So I had on a button-down shirt that has a bunch of little deer heads all over it, and I was joking. It's if you're in a lifestyle, you may come across a couple who play separately, and they're referred to as stag and vixen. So I've got on my stag shirt.
It was subtle, though. Yes. I think mine was less subtle.
Less subtle. And then after dinner, we went to another little Irish bar that's in my little town I live in, and we're finishing up, and this little cute waitress comes over, and she's commenting on somebody's outfit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, this woman she just looked really so the bar was full of just kind of, relatively normal people in casual clothing. And there was this woman who was a very blonde and very busty, wearing very, very short shorts.
Like you might see in a certain, like we're talking about in porn before the action starts.
Yes. And she was hot. But it's cold out.
It just
it's not warm.
I think back to my childhood and Sesame Street. There was always a thing I liked. It was like, which one of these is not like the other? Which one of these doesn't belong? And this was this lady.
Yes. And I think that I was checking her out because they were very short shorts, and she did have a nice body.
Well, we'll preface that. We were having a conversation about who knows what, because one of our dynamics we have is we both can have a bunch of different conversations going on at the same time where our brains are, and we can bounce back and forth. So yes. During all this, I start giving her a hard look to look over there, because she walks by and I'm like, okay, that ass and those shorts does not belong in this bar right now. No,
she definitely looked very, she stood out. Let's say that.
Yes. So.
Yes. But anyway, the waitress caught me checking this lady out. So then she came over and was chuckling with us. It was really interesting. It was good.
Yeah. And commenting on she really liked your style and everything else. And I'm like, okay, unicorn dress, pineapple earrings, and necklace. And I was like, she has no idea.
No, she was adorable and really young.
Yes. The innocence was cute.
It was really cute.
Yes.
So, but that was fun too, the bar.
Yes.
And then, yes.
And so there was some other, where I live, it's like a main intersection. There's a bunch of places that are kind of surprisingly that they're actually really fun, and they're all there together. So we were finishing up our drinks, and I was like, all right, I asked the question, what do you want to do? And I was like, before you really had a chance to answer, I was like, let's go home and play.
Which was fine. I was completely on board with that. It was good.
And two, the whole idea about doing a podcast, I was like, yeah, let's go do this.
Yeah, this has been good.
Mm-hmm. So back to your original question.
Oh, right. We were going to talk about the sex.
Yeah, the play-by-play, blow-by-blow, so to speak.
So to speak. So well, let's see. So we came up and pole vaulted onto the giant bed.
Exactly. Took a couple attempts, got up here finally.
Yeah, it was good. And I was saying I enjoy kissing you. It was nice. So we actually did a lot of kissing, which was good.
Right. And it's part of taking your time. I mean, it's like we were talking about getting to know somebody, even with this, we're both, we both know we like the way we have sex together, but at the same time, we're not rushing to get to it. That's good.
No, it's there though.
Good, no, it's good advice for anybody having sex. Take your time.
Yeah, because it'll happen.
Exactly. We'll get there. And it's fun.
Yes.
It's also fun when we're both doing it, teasing the hell out of the other one.
And I got to blow you for a while. You let me blow you for a while. It was nice.
Yeah. I was. She. Yeah. Definitely. Very good skills and. Two hands at the same time, nice amounts of saliva. And I don't know if we go there, but you have no trouble handling me. Yeah.
No, you're substantial. So yes, thank you.
It's one of those things. It's nice that, being able to handle me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's good. I enjoyed that. And I don't know. I liked looking up at you and watching me.
Oh, when my head wasn't laying back and me. Yeah. But it's one of those things. It's funny. To me, it's like you're really enjoying what's going on, but you're also wanting to do something else. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was like wanting to return a favor, but it's either I've got to make her stop or we've got to change into a different position. So
no, that's true. And I guess I could have gotten up and we could have done some 69, which we did last time we were alone together.
But I think tonight there was a little bit of a theme of being selfish or being a little bit more, this is us. Let's spend some time doing us.
Yeah. It was nice. Giving. Yes. And then you spent some time focusing on me.
Oh, definitely.
Which was nice.
She is really, like I said, really it's a nice response and very sensitive. So doing things, making your way from her neck to her boobs, spending some time there at the same time, caressing in her thighs. She really appreciates that.
Yes, I do. I like attention.
Yeah. So it's I think, some people refer to it as the art of the tease.
Mm-hmm. I like, that's cute.
Yeah. So eventually, you make your way down to, start fingering you and licking you and spending some time down there.
That was nice. I liked looking down and watching you.
And making sure
you're really
to look
good
up.
With your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did come hither on the G spot. That was very nice.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's kind of like, they talk about, maybe some people have trouble finding or whatever, but it's, any girl and everyone's
a little different.
Everybody's a little different. That's kind of really cool about the lifestyle. Everybody's built different. Everybody does things differently, but everybody's generally the same. So
yeah, we all technically have most of the same stuff. So
pay attention to what you're doing and how she's reacting to it, and you'll find your way.
So that's really the secret, is watching your partner, right? And so maybe with guys it's a little bit easier because if you can feel if they're getting more firm or if they're moving more.
And I joke about, my cock's got ADD. If you're not giving him the attention he wants, it's very obvious.
Oh no.
But if you give him the attention he wants, he's right back there.
So that makes sense. That's genuine. But it's true. If you watch your partner, and I feel like some people get sort of lost in that.
Yeah. And then I like looking up at her, the whole eye contact, but at the same time with women, especially, pay attention to their breathing, pay attention to the way they're moving. You'll see a woman. I had a experience a couple of weeks ago where I was having a 3-way with another guy and a girl, and he was going down on her. I was at the top. She was either stroking me or sucking me at the same time. But I actually saw, because a different perspective, saw her get flush across her chest.
Oh, nice.
Right before she came.
Oh, nice.
So that's one thing, Miss Brainy here's kind of fair skin. So you can see her face get flush or whatever. So it's in short, pay attention to what you're doing and how she's reacting to it.
So I have many tells. Yeah. I'm a terrible liar.
Or poker player. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, in this situation, it's really good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually, we're like, all right,
let's fuck.
Exactly. So I reach over to, I would joke about I need to be an endorser for this particular brand, but whenever and got my condom, and at the same time where I'm down there, doing things with her, as soon as I get up, she immediately bends over and gets me primed again. And gets my cock hard. So I'm putting on the condom, and then, one thing I always kind of like doing is, to me, when we're getting, if it's especially like missionary, so I like the woman putting me in because it's another assurance of consent.
Well, that's true.
It's one of those things, I'm not ramming into her, and it kind of lets her have a little bit more control, especially if somebody new, making them feel a little bit more comfortable with that.
That makes sense.
And you can kind of get an idea of, there's some women that want you to pound the hell out of them. And then there's other women that want you to go easy. So you can kind of get a little bit more feedback before you get into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And it's really, that's one of the secrets is like just paying attention to your partner.
Yeah. And then also with guys, I'm fascinated how we are so differently built. And the flip side of that is women is, okay, there's obvious extremes, but then there's, everybody else in the middle or in the middle-ish. And it depends on what their experience is. It's like you could have a guy who he might consider himself average, but depending on the woman, he's really, really big. Or the flip side of a guy who thinks he's really huge and the woman's like, meh, you're average. So it's kind of like you get a little bit of feedback of what she's comfortable with, what she's used to.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's nice with people in the lifestyle, like they experience lots of different people and different
that's kind
anatomies.
of the point of its variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Yeah. So I really enjoyed you fucking me, by the way.
And we've had this from the first time. we discussed, we don't know if it because it's just we click or because
the mechanics, you mean?
or because we took a while to get together or other things we got in common, but it's really good.
Yes.
We're able, physically, you feel really good. You seem to like what I have.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That was true.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, it's one of those nights where you're having a lot of fun and it's kind of like, eventually it's like you're, just going to town and it's like, well, when you're ready to start talking shit about my cock and that'll make me come.
Yes.
So we had, some really slow grinding, some just straight up pounding. One of the things I like that she did that I also like is you get in a position like on Mish, but I'm raised up. We're both watching penetration.
Yes. That's hot.
That's like live, straight up porn almost.
It is. It's like legit, like actual live.
I'm trying to think of it's like almost like viewer. I forget the name.
POV, point of view.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. You can always turn to me for the porn jargon.
Yes. But it's also like, things I like doing. I think I had your legs up on my shoulders a couple times where I'm up and just pounding you as quick as I can. Remember, stamina is good. Cardio is good.
Yes, definitely. No, you did great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It definitely has some fun.
Yes, thanks.
And there's always, you're like, well, when you get to the point you're ready to finish, it's, again, reading your partner. And we've been in situations where it's been external or internal. And this is one of those nights where you're like, yeah, it's, a little bit a closer experience. So yeah, that's that.
Oh no, it was nice. And yeah. So, and I felt you throb when you came and it made me come again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sort of adds like a level of intimacy. It was nice.
Yeah. That was kind of the theme we had going on tonight.
It was date night.
Exactly.
It was our romantic date night.
So yeah. So now we're ready to, get, find some debauchery next weekend.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
Yeah. It'll be good. Mm-hmm. All right. So that was the recap. So overall, thumbs up.
Oh, 2 thumbs up at least.
That was a win.
If I wasn't a little bit tired, I'd have 3 things up right now.
You're funny.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Okay, so we did it. We talked before, we played, and then we talked after.
And naked. We did this naked.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for being on my podcast.
Oh, pleasure. It's what, like I said, I just started, recapping yesterday and today. And I was like, and before you asked, I was like, I kind of like to do this.
Yeah, this has been great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess, yeah, let's, we'll get to hang out with each other and not the podcast after this.
Yeah. We're not going to surf you all for a while, a little bit. It's our time again.
It's our time again. But definitely there will be a recap of next weekend at a minimum.
Oh my gosh. We might, if things go really well, it might be a couple parter.
That would be sweet. We'll have like all kinds. It'll be like a big party on the podcast.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
I look forward to the next time.
Oh, as always.
I am currently driving home from Mr. Saturday's, and it's about an hour from where I live. So I thought I would give some thoughts for my way home. So it was really fun. I had a nice time. And in the end, we decided not to go out anywhere. We just did the whole like date thing. And I think I said before, I haven't been on an actual like romantic date with one person in quite some time. So it was actually really nice to get to do that. And we went to a couple quaint places and we had really great conversations. So it's really nice for me. And I know this really narrows the dating pool for me. I like it so much when I kind of connect with somebody on multiple levels. So like if the sex is there and we're comfortable talking about polyamory and swinging and the sex, that's awesome because there's just, that requires a level of comfort. But if there are other things we can talk about, life, philosophy, and, career, education, personal interests in addition to that, like that's really nice. So it's unlikely that we will ever run out of things to talk about, which is great. So between gossip and, techie things, like it was an evening full of great conversation, which was nice. So that was awesome. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to doing that again, I think. So we definitely have plans for next week. And that party, I think I'm trying to decide how that's going to go. I guess so some background. We have around locally, by locally, I mean like in the state-ish area, people go to these hotel takeover parties. And the nice thing about a hotel takeover party is that they sell the entire hotel out, so you don't have to worry about running into people who are not there for the event, which is awkward. Like, yeah. And because sometimes you have these situations where there's like a hotel takeover and there's a neighboring hotel where there's like a block of rooms that's for the swingers, which means there are like people with their families there, and that just makes me so uncomfortable. So I'm kind of a snob about that. Like I need to be at the actual host hotel usually, just because I don't know. It's just because I like to be close to the action. And so I've been to several different hotel takeovers throughout the area, and I think they vary in like structure and people and like the way things lay out. And so I don't know, let me just tell a few stories. So my first official hotel takeover party that I went to was, I'm going to date myself. No, I'm not actually, because this wasn't that long ago. So I was actually where I met an ex. This is funny. So I was on my favorite swinging website, and there was this event that was actually not far from where I was living at the time. And I decided I really wanted to go and check it out. And they said it was female, like single female friendly, but I don't know. It's nice to have somebody that's like, your ally when you go places if you don't know anybody. And it's true. Like if you show up somewhere as a single female, odds are that like lots of people will be very nice to you. But I just thought it would be great to have somebody to feel was like my partner, to go with me to this thing. So I started digging through my inbox, and I was going to find somebody who I thought didn't seem like a complete troglodyte to invite to accompany me to this party. And so I found this gentleman, and he had written to me a few times, and I hadn't bothered to respond, but he had politely and so diligently written to me several times, but hadn't come off as pushy, like just had come off as like persistent, but in like gentle and respectful way. Like he just completely navigated it absolutely correctly. So I wrote to him and I said, okay, so here's the thing. There's this party I would like to go to, and I would like to have a date. And, would you maybe like to go check this out with me? And he said, sure. So we proceeded as I usually like to when I meet new people. And we agreed to meet for coffee without any pressure. So if we met for coffee in the middle of the day, and it just so happened that we were going to be in the same area. And so we, slotted out a half-hour time to meet for coffee, because that way, if you meet and there's no chemistry or you're just like uncomfortable with each other, then you have to leave like a half an hour later, and you can just not make plans after that, and that's easier to do from a distance. Where if you agree to go to dinner or spend a whole evening together and there's no chemistry and it's just bad, then it's awkward and you have to navigate sort of extricating yourself from the situation, and or you have to go through the rest of the night politely, right? And that's no good. So we agreed to meet for coffee. And he was really nice. Like, he was super cool. And we talked about, being in the lifestyle really quickly, as much as we could in a coffee shop full of people. And basically we agreed that on the following Saturday, we would go to this party together. So, so Saturday came, and I was a little nervous, so I took a little long to get there, and he started to get anxious. He was like, are you going to show up? It was really funny because we both drove. Well, he drove about an hour to be at this party, and then it was probably like 15 minutes for me. And we got there, and I got ready in the room, and then we went down to the party and checked in. And it was great. I will say that the hotel was older and a little bit in some disrepair. So it wasn't glamorous, but sometimes, if you're going to have lifestyle events, which are frowned on by a lot of, I guess corporate offices, or I don't know who makes these decisions. Basically, when they find out what's going to be going on in the hotel, they're like, maybe find another venue. But this place was like not in a busy area of town, and it was not the sort of place where they would ever have sold out under any other circumstances. Like, there just was no reason that they would have ever done this much business. So it was one of those older hotels. And I don't want to say older. It was probably built in the 70s or 80s. So there was a large atrium, and there were a couple of floors of rooms that looked over this atrium that had a pool in it. And there was a large enough area next to the pool that could be a dance floor. And they had a DJ, and there were lights. And so then there were the main rooms, or there were a bunch of rooms that were around the pool area. And those were the fancy, like, jacuzzi suites usually. And then there were other branches off of those hallways that had other rooms. So the hotel was pretty large. I couldn't tell you how many rooms there were, but they had a dance floor, and they had, the pool area, and there was sort of they had like food and like snacks and soda and stuff in another area. And there were lots of tables set up in the atrium where you could bring your cooler that had bring your own liquor in it. And, so we got settled in, and we'd actually been staying at the neighboring hotel, so they gave us a locker, which was really nice. So we started walking around, and we weren't sure like how to proceed because we didn't necessarily know anyone there. And it turned out later that he did know some people there, but I don't know if he knew those people were going to be there. So we were walking around, and we were checking it out, and we went into the playrooms, and I was really impressed with the playrooms because they had like legitimate sex furniture. Like, so like there would be like bars with padded things sort of hanging from chains, so it had like some swing to it, and there were like sex swings, and then there were special chairs that were clearly designed for someone to sit at the right height in front of someone with their legs in stirrups, so like oral sex chairs, which was kind of awesome, and that was cool. So we were walking around, and we were like sort of making small talk with people, and he seemed a little nervous, and so then I just decided to break the ice with like, hey, would you like a blowjob? It's funny because he started to double take. And so then we fooled around a little in the playroom, and I don't know. Anyway, so then the evening was fun. We met a bunch of people. We did end up playing with like 3 other couples. So there was like a pile of people. So yes, on our first date, I had sex with like 3 other people, 3 other guys, and like a handful of other women. And it was really great. Anyway, we ended up dating, and I ended up seeing that guy for a long time, being with him for a long time. But we did regularly go back to the events at that hotel for a while. And then eventually they just stopped having them there. And the place was, as I mentioned, in terrible disrepair. Like, the rooms weren't very nice, and the ceiling was glass in the atrium, and it would collect all this condensation on it. It would drip on you, like, which was dangerous because then the tiles would get wet and people are slipping around on their heels. And so it was not glamorous, but we were like, dude, it's a giant hotel with a pool that lets us like have sex everywhere. Like, it's okay. Anyway, so they stopped having the events there, and then I realized a few weeks later that the reason why was because they literally condemned the building and tore it down. Like, it's gone now. So there was a while where there weren't events in that area anymore, so we found other events to go to. So we would drive, I don't know, like an hour and a half to go to these events in another city. And those events were fun. And I have to say that the crowd was a little bit, I don't know, they were a little bit like younger and slightly less conservative. I don't know how to describe it. They were like a little hipper crowd. And so they allowed more single men, and they had like more different rooms that you could dance in. So there would be like a main lobby bar where they would have a band or somebody doing like kind of top 40 stuff, or they would have like, there was a different room where there was a dance floor with a DJ that was playing like dance music, and that had like dance cages and poles and stuff in it. So it had more of like a nightclub vibe than like I don't know how to describe it, but they also had playrooms and they had sex furniture in them. But the catch was that this hotel served liquor. And so during the time that they sold liquor, they couldn't actively encourage people to be playing on premise. So you weren't actually allowed to play anywhere except for in your rooms or suites until they closed the bars at 1 a.m. So then at 1 a.m., everybody would make this mad rush for the playroom, which was expansive. It was in like conference rooms that were downstairs. And so everyone would rush down to the playroom and like start playing. And I felt like the etiquette there wasn't as there, if that makes sense. So like at the first place that we would go to the parties, you could play as soon as you got there, and the playroom would be very slow starting out. But that's to be expected, right? Like, most people don't really like get motivated to get in there and play until after they've like been hanging out for a while and had a few drinks. Sometimes I'm like, let's go fuck right now. Like, but you know, that's me. I think I'm generally the exception to most rules. So the playroom would open at 1 and everybody would get down there. And I just felt like people were a little bit less keen to follow the rules. And so the rules officially are, at all swing parties, no means no. And if somebody isn't interested, you don't get to like continue to stand there being a nuisance or reaching your hand in, because that's not okay, right? So unless you're invited into someone's play scene, you can probably stand a few feet back and watch respectively. But like, don't jump in. That's not okay, right? And if somebody says, no, thanks, it's just us, you nod, say thank you, and leave. GTFO, right? So I felt like that was never a problem at the first parties that I went to. And it was a little more low key crowd, I guess. So like these newer parties that we started going to, the crowd was a little bit like hipper. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel so old saying that, but they didn't, they were like less okay about rejection and the rules. And so on more than one occasion, I would be playing on a mattress with my date and another couple. And some dude would come sit down and like start touching my hair. And I was like, yo, no. And then, sometimes when I was like, nope, no thanks, then he would take his hand away and like still sit there like with his naked ass like right next to me. And I was like, dude, I didn't invite you. This is our space right now. And so a couple times I had to get firm with people and say, listen, you're encroaching. Like, this is not acceptable. You need to get out of here. Like, we didn't invite you and we said no thanks politely and you're still here. And I don't know that I ever had anyone like actually thrown out, but they were pretty good about policing it, but it still happened there more than anywhere else that I've ever been, which was disappointing. So we still went though. And we usually ended up just playing with people in our room and stuff because that sort of avoided, I don't know, that somewhat. Anyway, so those were fun and we would go to those. And so like the whole vibe there was a little bit different. Like I just felt like people had to be more upfront, and there was more talking about like what was going to happen later because it didn't get to happen until like 1:00. Where at the first parties, you could just sort of slowly go to the playroom and then talk about what you were going to do there, or like start playing a little and then discuss things further. So the dynamic was a little bit different. I don't know. There were some other parties we went to that were on the west side of the state. And I don't know why, but I never really got settled in there and never felt as comfortable or as welcome there. And I think part of the problem was that it was like a little bit more kink friendly than other parties, and that's absolutely fine. Like, I think if you're into kink, that's terrific. But I don't necessarily know that I'm completely on board with lumping it in with swinging, because I feel like sex positivity and sexual openness doesn't necessarily equate to me with BDSM. And I think it's fine if they do for you. I think that's great. But just because of the nature of what's going on during like hardcore BDSM scenes, like it can be a little overwhelming for people who aren't necessarily into that. And I totally get that. And then also there were the BDSM people who weren't really just there for the sex. And so like, I don't know, I felt like there was some sort of, you know, like it was like the I don't know, like the jocks and the goths at the high school dance. Like it was, I don't know, it was a little weird. So, and maybe this is just, I'm speaking from personal experience. I really feel like I should preface this with, I know so many very awesome people in the fetish lifestyle. I didn't see any of them at this party. There were a couple people that were cool, but like, I think probably more to the point, there were like a handful of people that made me less than enthusiastic to be there, and they ruined the whole evening for me. So for starters, when we showed up, we got our room, and it was nice that it was an on-premise hotel. So we got our room, and then we went down to have the tour. So there was like some gentleman gave us the tour of the place, because he was like, okay, so this is the main dance room, and then here's some playrooms, and then here's the official play area. And we walked into a large room that wasn't open to play yet, but inside of it were, you know, areas with mattresses with sheer curtains around them. And the general rule is if the curtains are closed, even if they're sheer, you can watch, but you shouldn't try to enter. And if the curtains are open, then there's a possibility that people are going to be open to you inviting yourself into their scene, but you definitely still have to ask first. You know, all of it seems reasonable. But anyway, during the tour, I got a stern warning that I was not to squirt on any of the furniture. I'm not a huge squirter, but I feel like, I don't know, that warning just made me not want to have sex in the playroom. Because occasionally, like, it happens, right? Like, there are fluids involved in, like, sexual arousal. And I don't know, like, that just struck me as really weird and unfriendly thing to say to somebody. So I think we did end up playing with someone, I think, but it wasn't in the playroom, really. I don't know, I don't remember. Anyway, I think I went to 2 different of those parties, and I don't know, like, I didn't really enjoy them. And so I stopped going to those. So, the first party that I had gone to, the very first one where I met the ex, anyway, those are by a company called Cap City. And if you go to my website, you can see that I have a calendar and it says like where I'm going to be and who's throwing the party. Anyway, they moved to another hotel, and it was a nicer hotel, and it was sort of more in the center of town, which initially I wasn't sure if I should worry about. Like, what if I run into people I know? But then I sort of resigned myself to the idea that if I ran into people there, they were there too. And so it would be like not weird at all. Like the double weird would negate all weird. So they moved it to this new hotel. And the only problem with the new hotel was that it had fewer rooms. And so it tended to sell out. So my strategy was each year when they would announce the dates for the entire year, I would book rooms for every single possible date. We usually ended up going to all of them, but if things came up, then I would just have the opportunity to cancel like a month in advance or something. So the new hotel also had an atrium, and it had like a pool, but the pool is a little bit smaller, and there was a bar in the atrium. They had a DJ, and they had this interesting sort of pedestal raised up area where they had a hot tub. And then unfortunately, after a while, the hot tub was out of commission, and they wouldn't let them use the hot tub anymore. And I don't know why. There was some explanation, but I've forgotten it. But they had a bunch of rooms, and then people would have sort of things going on in their rooms, and they had a big playroom. Yeah, and it was really fun, actually. It was just the same structure as the old Cap City parties. It was just this nicer hotel, and it was a little bit smaller. So we would go to those. And then eventually those ended too. I think the hotel just decided they didn't want to be involved with that sort of action happening at their hotel. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But so that was unfortunate. Those were gone. The good news is that this party next weekend is a Cap City party. It's about an hour away from the last hotel that they would throw parties at. And it's been probably close to 2 years since they did a party. But I'm really looking forward to it because I think that I've always enjoyed their parties, no matter where they were thrown. And I don't know, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be good. I don't know anything about the hotel. I'm not really sure that I'm even familiar with the area that the hotel is in. But I've invited Saturday to go, and I think we're going to try to invite Lucky to go with us too if she's available. I probably should call her before I post this. So the theme is pinup, which is cool because I don't think I've been to a hotel takeover party where the theme was pinup. And pinup is kind of my shtick. I don't know if you can tell that from my like headless pictures, but like I love old type lingerie and fun shoes, and I like posing like a pinup girl. And so I am really excited to do the like pinup thing. And I think we may even do kind of an interesting theme where we do like some kind of 50s like smoking jacket guy, Playboy bunnies. Because I like Playboy bunnies. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing because there's a waitress and I don't know. I feel like even Hugh Hefner's fallen out of favor, but like I still love the outfit. It's funny. And yeah, so that's going on next weekend and I'm very much looking forward to it. So I'm assuming that it's going to have the same structure as the other Cap City parties where they will have a playroom that's well stocked and well decorated with cool furniture, and I will be able to go in there as soon as I want to. And I secured an awesome poolside room, which I'm super excited about. And I just am looking forward to it because I haven't been to a good hotel takeover in a long time. There's another company who does them, and I really only got to two of their parties, but they were really fun. But somehow they always seem to conflict with things that I have going on. I don't know. Anyway, if I have another one of those coming up, it'll go on my calendar and I will talk about it after I go, I guess. In the meantime, yeah, last night was good. Life is okay. Yes, I've had some like changes in my personal life, but like, you know what? That's okay. Things happen. And I still have good friends and I have good lifestyle people that I talk to. And I don't know. I'm going to keep being me because ultimately, like, that actually makes me happy. So I guess that's all I have for today. But I want to say that I'm trying to get more involved with my listeners. And so I've added this voicemail feature on my website. So if you go to thebrainyfox.com, there's a tab that says, well, there's a navigation bar, and one of the options is to leave me a voicemail. And if you leave me a voicemail with a question in it, I can actually add your voice to my next podcast, and I will answer your question. So, I don't know. I'm also happy to take emails and stuff, too. I've gotten a handful of emails. And I guess I'm going to enjoy my leisurely drive home and I guess look forward to my plans next weekend, which I will tell you all about afterwards. Oh, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to Lucky and Saturday. Oh, and maybe some other people. I love talking to other swingers. Okay. Yeah, so many big plans. All right. Well, thanks, and I will see you guys in a week. You've been listening to the Brainy Fox podcast. Thanks for spending time with me. If you want to get in touch with me or ask a question for one of my future shows, you can leave me a voicemail message on my website, thebrainyfox.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at thebrainyfox. So thank you so much for listening and happy swinging.